Welcome to Hockey Whiz Talks podcast. Today I'll be talking about players on the move during the NHL Trade Deadline. In this podcast, I talk about some prominent players who could be on the move during the upcoming NHL Trade Deadline. Forwards on the move during the NHL Trade Deadline. Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux is the top name on the trade market at the deadline, but he has a no-move clause and is only willing to be traded to a select 2 or 3 teams. It will be interesting to see where Giroux winds up. Thomas Hertl is a name that has popped up repeatedly on the trade block because he is a pending UFA this offseason. Hertl is in his prime and will be a highly sought-after player at the deadline if he is available. JT Miller. JT Miller's name has been mentioned repeatedly in the trade rumors in the past few weeks, which may suggest the Canucks may be looking to move him. Miller would be a very valuable player to a contending team because of his versatile play and playoff experience. Joe Pavelski. Joe Pavelski is going to be an extremely valuable trade asset at the deadline because he is a proven playoff performer and a desperate playoff team would definitely pay a premium to get him. Brock Boeser. Like JT Miller, Brock Boeser has been a player whose name has been on the rumor mill for the past few weeks. He is in his prime and would help a team who is on the bubble or is trying to build up their young core. Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher is one of the many Montreal Canadiens who are on the trade block at the deadline, but he is also one of the most attractive assets they have because he is the ideal player to have in the playoffs. Contending teams could really benefit from having a player like Gallagher in their lineup. Phil Kessel. Phil Kessel will most likely be moved at the deadline. He would be very helpful to a team that is on the bubble and is one piece away from being a contending team. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on anchor.fm/hockeywiz777scouting. Defensemen on the move at the NHL Trade Deadline. Jacob Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun has been one of the players who have been rumored to be on the move for a while now, and it seems as though him getting traded is imminent. The question is, do contending teams value him to be the top pair defenseman that Arizona sees him as? Mark Giordano. Although Mark Giordano is the captain of the Seattle Kraken, it seems very likely that the Kraken are leaning towards doing a full rebuild, so naturally, trading Giordano seems like the most logical move. Giordano is still a top 4 defenseman in the league, so they should trade him now before his value diminishes. John Klingberg. John Klingberg is still a top pair defenseman in the NHL, but because the Stars already have Miro Heiskanen, he no longer is the go-to guy there anymore. Klingberg is a UFA after this season, so it's possible he gets moved if the Stars don't have him in their future plans. Hampus Lindholm. Hampus Lindholm is a UFA this coming offseason, so the Anaheim Ducks most likely will move him at the deadline. Lindholm will draw plenty of attention on the trade market because he is a top 4 defenseman who is still in his prime. Rasmus Ristolainen. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to be in selling mode at the deadline, and one of the players who could be on the move is Rasmus Ristolainen. He is a big and physical defenseman who could be very valuable to a contending team. PK Subban. Trading Subban might be a bit tougher than trading other players on this list due to his high cap hit and because of the decline in his play. However, Subban is still a solid veteran defenseman who has playoff experience, and contending teams may be interested. The Devils would probably have to take back some of his contract for the deal to go through. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. Goalies on the move at the NHL Trade Deadline. Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury is the top goalie available on the trade market at the deadline and should be a hot commodity. Fleury is a veteran goalie with plenty of playoff experience, so he should help any team that he goes to. Semyon Varlamov. Semyon Varlamov is seemingly relegated to being a backup goalie to Ilya Sorokin, but he still has plenty left in the tank and could be a valuable goalie for a contending team. Braden Holtby. Braden Holtby has not played much lately because of the emergence of Jake Ottinger as the Dallas Stars' #1 goalie. While Holtby is not a starting goalie anymore, he could still be a solid backup goalie if the team has a good defense. Jonas Korpisalo. Jonas Korpisalo seems expendable now that Elvis Merzlikins has solidified himself as the Blue Jackets' #1 goalie. Korpisalo could be a solid 1B on a contending team. In my next podcast, I make predictions on the NHL Trade Deadline.